Happy Sunday, everybody. This is Dr. Elsie Coe. Again, we are talking with an author for this book called Physician Underdog. I don't know if you've seen it. It is, do you ever feel like the underdog in a situation where you feel a little discomfort and maybe you're not the expert in that area? How do we use that, uh, the term underdog can be used in a positive light. And we're going to talk to somebody who's very inspiring in this book. My name is Dr. Elsie Coe. I'm the CEO and founder of LEAD Physician Leadership Program for Physicians, also the Chief Medical Officer of American Endovascular and Amputation Prevention, helping patients by saving them from amputation. If you want to hear more of these videos, go to our YouTube channel, Lead Physician, subscribe, like, and share that for past and future interviews like this. Lead Physician is all about giving passion, purpose, and potential back to the physician. So let me introduce you to Dr. Navin Goyal. He is our guest today, who's the author of this book. How are you doing, Navin? Good to see you.
I'm great. Thank you for having me today. Excited to
Oh,
talk.
no, thank you for I'm really honored to I've seen you in so many podcasts, so, I'm honored to have you. This is the book that, Dr. Goyal has written, Physician Underdog, Leveraging the Underdog Mentality to Move Forward. I'd like to also show that he's a practicing anesthesiologist for 13 years and has really understands the ins and outs of not just only being in the medical system, but outside. He developed this platform called SmileMD, helping dental patients in underserved areas through a mobile platform and anesthesia, bringing it to them instead of them going to the hospitals. And also the CEO of LOUD Capital, which is a venture capital, and correct me if I'm wrong, Navin, but a venture capital for early startup investments and being very impactful, not just in healthcare, but outside in investments that make a difference and who otherwise probably wouldn't have been able to make a difference without the resources. Thank you so much for being here. Loud Capital is I love this from your page, so I just want to show it.
Sure.
Early stage venture capital firm providing capital entrepreneurship education also to grow impactful companies across the globe. Loud Capital's entrepreneurship amplify. How did you do all these things and why did you write this book? I'm very interested in your story.
Yeah. So the short story is wanted to be a physician, became one. It wasn't easy. I was the one who was like, oh, can I get into medical school? Can I do this? Got lucky and maybe brought some luck to the table, worked really hard, absorbed inspiration and energy from a lot of great people, became an anesthesiologist and practiced here in Columbus, where I am for
In
13 years
Ohio.
in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio. For 13 years in a private practice, and I was good. Like that was it. But slowly, after realizing that you're not taking more tests, you're not studying for the next phase, and your learning curve at work starts to go more flat, I realized that I was bored. I started looking for other things. So I started reading books. I started getting inspired by entrepreneurial books, actually.
I
And
want to I want to backtrack a little bit because I've watched some of your podcasts and not only read your book, but you also talked about how you became a medical director and
yeah,
then you sat in these meetings where you kind of felt like the underdog. You felt like first you thought, okay, they want to hear what I want to say. I have a presence here, physicians have a voice, and yet you found out that maybe half of the things that they were talking about, they've already discussed and made a decision about without the physician's voice. Can you talk about that a little bit?
yeah. So I was medical director of one of our community hospitals, and it was a great leadership position, something that I kind of got thrown into, but I learned really quickly to gain confidence around the conference table and start communicating what I felt was necessary. But there were many times where we would arrive at the meeting. I was coming straight from the operating room in time for the meeting, and I realized that there were several meetings before that that have kind of determined the schedule and essentially most of the decisions for that meeting. And so I started questioning, like, what am I really here for? I'm here probably because there's a physician medical director here on, on the ledger that says Dr. Goyal was here and he kind of approved. And
Right.
and it's it's nothing evil in my mind. It's really just acknowledging that I was playing a certain role less than I thought I was initially. And
Right.
there are full-time people working on the business of medicine while we're seeing patients. You
And
can
you know
take
what?
what yeah.
I'm not trying to put down administrators, but it's
Oh, yeah.
kind of come to a point where many of us experience that as physicians. And some of it's, I don't want to waste the time of the physician. They need to be out there seeing the patients. And some of it is maybe they don't understand what we're talking about, and let's not waste time, and let's just let them give their input where they understand, instead of let's
Yep.
teach them so that we can incorporate this together and really put together something that's impactful for patients.
That's right. And the small amount of time I had in the meetings, I would put my input, but then I was hungry for more. I was like, I think I can affect change a little bit more. And that's what was not sitting well with me. And I had this confidence being a medical director for several years. And then I just found other ways to express myself, be creative, and be heard, to be honest. And I'm hearing that from a lot of other leadership, physician leaders, even non-physician corporate, in corporations. This happens all the time, by the way. I
Yes.
think it's just being aware of that and what you do with it. If you're Many people are not even aware of that. So now learn about that, realize it, and if you're good with it, good. But many people will not be, and then they
Right.
will do something else. And that's
Right.
where I really think about growth mindset and expanding your confidence to do whatever you want.
Right. I just did a TEDx talk on this, and hopefully I'll have that
Wow.
out later. But I totally agree with you. The whole educational system doesn't gear us to think about our potential beyond what we think that we're experts in, and we think that that's it, and we've reached our pinnacle. When really, like 13 years later, for you, Naveen, 13 years later, you're like, wait a minute, there's more to my life and my potential than this, and I can do it. And your confidence grew from this kid I saw that you said who didn't like to ask questions in the classroom,
Yeah.
to somebody now who is the CEO. Let's talk a little bit about this quote that I saw in your book, which I thought was very, very good. It says, "This is a different approach." This is in the beginning of your book. Again, this is the Physician Underdog book that he has written, and you can buy on Amazon. "There is a different approach that an underdog must take, and the pressure can crush you to nothing, or it can produce the finest qualities you can exhibit." Can you talk about what you mean by that?
Yeah, so specifically talking about a lot of people who walk in life, or walk into work kind of defeated. And by the way, I was defeated for a while too. It's that adversity that actually brings you some choices. That
Right.
adversity can be, hey, I'm going to be walking in here and feel like I cannot change my situation at all. Whatever that means, by the way. It doesn't mean leaving your job. It could just be changing your mindset and saying, hey, I decide to walk into this job, and now I decide what I can do afterwards, or I can decide how my day is, right? It's that mindset shift. For me, I was doing really well financially, anesthesiology, in my dream job with a lot of great people. But I did see my colleagues, including myself, kind of like zombies walking in. I was like, we didn't go into medicine to do this. We went into medicine to take care of people, but we should be excited and happy and impactful. And what we're doing right now on a daily basis is seeing one-on-one folks in the operating rooms, taking care of them, leaving, coming home, going to bed, lacking fulfillment. I was, and a lot of other folks were. And there's still people that lack fulfillment that are at that job, probably haven't changed any mindset. That's getting crushed. And that's not an insult. I'm actually trying to encourage people to just give them confidence or awareness that you can do other things. Like, we've had discussions where, man, it'd be nice to work outside once in a while, to see the sun a little bit more. In the winter in the Midwest, you get at the hospital 5:30 a.m. and let's say get out by 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. You haven't seen the sun that day. That's the whole winter. Is that good
Mm,
for anybody? No. So how can you achieve that? And it's
right.
these kind of questions that start giving you some ideas and confidence, and you'll actually entertain more than not even questioning it at all. So it's just like that exercise that I want people to start thinking about more.
Right. How did you become a lot more aware of your own limitations that woke you up to start taking action? And what
Yeah.
kind of advice do you give to people when they're saying, "Well, I don't even know where to start," Naveen?
Yes. Yeah. So I started reading a lot about entrepreneurs, right? The Elon Musk, the Steve Jobs. I'm reading the business section of the Wall Street Journal every day, and I'm reading about people like me or not like me who are believing in something, moving forward on something, and potentially building something impactful that we all know about as people in this country or wherever. And so what it did was it got me curious. And so I started angel investing. I was very excited into investing in startup companies. I felt like there was a potential monetary reward, but what I didn't realize is I got to know these entrepreneurs and they were inspiring. And they were talking about things without any cage, any ceiling. They said, yeah, let's do it. Let's build it. Let's go international. Let's do this. And I said, I have not felt that energy before. So what that did to me is it exposed me to a whole new world of people that were outside the hospital. And that encouraged me to learn more and explore more, and eventually started two businesses doing that. And so it was just being curious and following some pathways of energy. So one thing I tell kids and adults this, because it's become crystal clear to me: observe what gives you energy and observe what takes energy away from you, and follow the energy.
Right. I would say
Simple.
even write it down,
Write it
because
down. Yes.
some
Journal
we
it.
forget about it so easily. Even some people do a vision board. I don't know.
Yeah.
You ever created a
Yeah.
vision board? And
I haven't, but I appreciate it.
yeah, I've had people tell me that everything on their vision board has come true, and then they have to start all over and do it again. So some of my clients, and that's kind of what we teach. But I want to talk a little bit about Loud Capital. And this platform is not really to tell physicians to go outside of medicine and leave medicine, but really find your passion within where you are and what drives you. And that's why I think you are so inspiring, Navin. I want to talk about Loud Capital a little bit, and I want to start by what's behind you there. If you can show us, those are the tenants of Loud Capital. And
Yeah.
okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, I
Can you
mean,
read that for us?
yeah, of course. So, venture capital, Loud Capital is a venture capital firm that I co-founded in 2015. And so our mantra and tagline that took a while to really absorb why we care so much about this is a belief that venture capital can create a positive impact in society. You usually don't hear that very often, but I'm telling you, from building this from scratch, coming from a completely different, industry of medicine, I really have come to that conclusion, and so has all my team members. So we all thoroughly believe in it. A pursuit of investing in diverse and underserved communities, because venture capital is so powerful. A lot of people don't talk about it, but I'm very open about it. There's a responsibility that I and the team carry, that when we are investing, it's a powerful way to uplift communities and people, and they become role models for others. So it's like a domino effect. So
Right.
it's just being more conscious of who we are investing in, and just being aware once again of that. And then the
Love that.
responsibility to educate and inspire the next generation of entrepreneurs to embrace this belief. If
Right.
more people are building companies and growing companies that are true problem solvers, I
Yep.
really think the world can be a better place. And I practice this, and this is actually why I do a lot of social media. This is why I wrote a book, because the ability to educate and talk about things, perhaps can open up folks' minds to this philosophy.
That's amazing. Can you just give us an example of something? First of all, how many companies have you invested in, and give us one example of an impactful startup company that you've invested in.
Yeah, of course. So we've invested in over 60 companies since 2015, and most of them are now growing and raising other rounds, but they're also employing a lot of people and impacting a lot of people as well.
Nice.
A really great company. Well, we have a lot. It's like picking your kids, right? So this is like something that comes to mind. There's a great company called Pay Theory, and in the technology space of fintech, financial technology space of mobile payments, how we pay on whether it's Venmo, PayPal, etc. Right? There is there are a lot of people who can't get a bank account for credit reasons, for multiple reasons. That's a whole nother story. And that's another thing, by the way, when I invest and when I explore industries, it's really learning about real problems. So I do not think about not having a bank account and not being able to get a credit card or a mode of payment. But let's say your child is in school and you owe some money for whether it's lunch or sports. And to pay on an online platform usually needs to be tailored to a specific bank account or credit card, etc. And so if you don't have one, which is already a hit against you, you actually get much higher fees and you have trouble paying, okay, just in
Mhm.
the vehicle because you don't
Mhm.
have a credit card.
Mhm.
Something as simple as that, which I personally take for granted and a lot of people around me take for granted, pay theory enables the underbanked to actually do online payments and not be punished for those fees. Now, if
Mhm.
you think about this in everyday life, and not just for schools, but let's call it a family community expenses, whether it's sports, whether it's education lessons, etc., that can really add up.
Right.
So pay theory is very impactful. We were one of the first investors. It's actually in Cincinnati, Ohio. Amazing founders, and the impact that they're doing and we have been investing and supporting and help growing has been not only fulfilling, but it's truly impacting people. These are the people that I took care of in the operating room.
Mm.
So it's that's what I'm doing. That's why I feel very fulfilled, because I'm helping people in a very different way, and the team in general is helping people in a very comprehensive way.
Wow, that's amazing. Not just that, maybe if you could shift your camera again back, Naveen, but you've also been very impactful in Smile MD. I just want to talk a little bit about that also. Talk about thinking outside the box, pushing the envelope, knowing that, and becoming more and more confident. Now, discomfort, making discomfort comfortable. And you developed Smile MD to help Medicaid underserved children to get anesthesia care through a mobile platform. How many states are you in, and how many kids do you think you're impacting?
Yeah. So first of all, I co-founded it with two other anesthesiologists. We have a team of about 120 today, headquartered in Columbus, Ohio. We're in 4 states. We're about to enter our fifth. We've taken care of, I don't know the last count, but over 15,000 kids.
Wow.
But let's just say this: I'm going to tell you the problem. I'm going to tell you the solution. So if you're in Chicago, Illinois, you have a 22 to 24 month wait if you're a 5-year-old kid on Medicaid and need dental extractions. The reason is dental procedures in a hospital or operating room are very low on the totem pole. And then you add Medicaid to that, goes lower. So low priority for a high cost center,
Yep.
which has a lot of their overhead, etc. So what happens is the kid's in pain. Everyone stresses out. You don't eat well. You don't concentrate. You don't focus. As a parent, you're heartbroken. So what we're doing now is we're enabling that care in the dental office that they got diagnosed in. So they get diagnosed, and instead of saying, hey, we have a 2-year wait at a hospital,
Yep.
they come to the dental practice, and within a month, we can enable that procedure there. We have an anesthesiologist, paramedic, a nurse, supplies, processes, everything, because you don't need a sterile operating room to get these kind of procedures done. So it
Right.
doesn't make any sense to go far. And there's logistical issues too, right? There's plenty of people who don't have a car or don't have a parent or parents that don't have the time to take off to go far to a medical center and get this done. So we've come to the community and we bring all
That's
that care.
amazing.
And we
That's
started with
amazing.
dental, and now we're doing a lot of other things. But that's my first foray into entrepreneurship. So
Yes.
imagine building something from scratch. We've raised capital, we've expanded, we got some great minds, all from diverse backgrounds coming in, and we're taking care of kids. It's a for-profit company. Investors have liked it, and that's validated multiple times in my mind. We can do this. We can actually make a venture-backed company impactful. We can make money for people, but we can also bring value and impact to the stakeholders and customers.
Right.
That it's just a higher standard. It's not taking a hit on monetary return or
Right.
ROI. It's actually a higher standard.
Yeah, I remember growing up before I even went to medical school, hearing that doctors just aren't good in business. We're not good in finance. We're poor investors. Don't invest when when you have money. So, the talk about changing the whole paradigm of how you think, being able to make extra sources of income when you're largely in debt from medical school is so important by first changing that mindset of these old paradigms that really are false and just been perpetuated um, just through society and from one generation to another. Thank you so much for this interview. This is so inspiring. If you're interested, read this book on Amazon, Physician Underdog. Your website I have here again I'm going to show is physicianunderdog.com. And oh, I have your picture up now. Sorry about that. But basically, I want to know any last words of wisdom that you have to physicians. Like, how do they start gaining awareness? What are the last things that you want to say as we close here?
So this applies to physicians and actually everyone, where you've gone so deep into a field where you're an expert and knowledgeable. What that's done, and it does to many people, is it gives you less confidence for other pathways because you feel that going so deep into one field is necessary to learn about others. And that's what you need to realize is not true. And so if you want to be a good investor and learn financials of companies, etc., we are in times where you can learn so many things online for free. You don't have to go and get an MBA and spend a lot of money and time. That's not for everybody, it's for some. But just know that, and know that it's okay to feel less
Yes.
confident. But there's no reason to, because you had the confidence to go so deep into such a highly credible and competitive field. Wake yourself up and say, I can do anything, because you can.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And until next week, take care and reach out to me if you're interested in watching and being on our podcast. If you want to talk about something related to physician leadership, at info@drlcco.com. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice Sunday.